Having our fear and failures for 2015, if you had certain resolutions for 2014 that you didn't see through, or you feel you fell short of, it's not too late. You can still go ahead and plan for your 2015. And to do we are going to be talking about all of this. And to do this, I have with me Reverend Walter Winston J., who is from the Calvary Apostolic Ministry, Ada, and Scofray Nana Yao Yeboah, who is a transformational coach, and Rachel Bwekina, a bank official. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
How are you this morning?
Doing well.
You're all looking very lovely and colorful. I like your dress too.
Thanks for the compliment.
Ladies are always choosy,
Oh, but you have a nice shirt on too, so you're looking very bright. Reverend, I'll start with you. What can cause sadness and depression in people?
Well, usually people ascribe a lot of reasons to being sad and being depressed. Most of the time, psychologists will try to define depression, but they can't even get to what it is. But from my background, I would say that it is brought about because of lack of dependence on God. If you read scripture carefully, it says that for God has not given us the spirit of fear again to fear, but of power, love, and of a sound mind. And if you go back to the Old Testament, it says that God will keep you in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on him. That means that as long as your mind is stayed on God, he would grant you that inner peace. It doesn't mean that things will not bring up their heads, their ugly heads. In the midst of the challenges and everything, you resolve, you have peace, you have inner calm, that no matter what happens, there is a God that is behind you. That once you have a good God behind you who is your defense, there's no need to panic. It's because we depend too much on ourselves, and we try to solve every problem by ourselves. We live in a society, in a generation where it's a go-get-it generation, and everything, once you don't get it, it gives you it brings you to a state of sadness. But when you dependent on God, when you focused on the fact that in him there is life. Scripture says that Christ in us is the hope of glory. So once you have Christ, you are always hopeful that tomorrow is going to be bright. Whatever happens, there's going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. So I kind of disagree with the word depression. Troubles are a part of life. They're inevitable. No matter what you do, they will come. But when they come, the way you manage it would tell how far you'd go or how backward you'd go. So basically that is my input on that.
So for the Christian or any human being, you cannot avoid troubles. Challenges will always come your way.
It's inevitable, no matter what happens.
So you having God on your side shows you how you should move when these challenges come. Yes. Nana, what do you have to say about sadness and young people?
Well, basically, it's the challenging times that we find ourselves in. That is the bottom line. We are more global than before, and we are more competitive than before. So the young man, the young woman who set off with the classmate from class 1 to class 6 or GSS couldn't make the grades as he or she desired. Or my colleague that sometimes I feel I'm sort of better off, got aggregate, let's take it, got 10 ones. I, whom many touted to be very good or academically inclined, had aggregate 10. It starts from there. Or let's take it a young man, a young woman taking examination. Throughout his or her academic performance, she or he stands tall. Then at the brink of examination, the person loses the mom, loses the dad. That moment can turn around the person's ability to perform. And when he or she reflects and look at the fact that hadn't been the death of my mom or my dad. Let me give a typical example. You remember somewhere in the late 90s, when Azuma Nelson was supposed to box, I think Whittaker or somebody. That moment, a day to the bout, he was told the wife had passed. So look at his psyche. He was only in the ring representing the sporting event, but not in the ring to compete and battle. So these are the moment where depression can set in. And I remember he himself attested it really had a toll on him. The same way it happens to, like Reverend said, it is a general life issue. Sadness is not the issue. It is how long it stays. How long it has an impact on you. How long it burdens you. That is where the depression comes in.
But, okay.
Go ahead.
In the case, the example you gave, Azuma Nelson's example, you just lost your wife or your mother. And you can't just say you can shake that sadness off immediately. It would take some time. It takes some time to heal. So see, what do you do?
In his case, there was something he was vying for. All right. And that incident of the loss of the wife impeded his aspiration towards annexing that title. You understand? So that becomes one thing. And the loss of the title also becomes another thing, because hadn't been her death, I could have annexed the title. And it was one of the greatest bad we were ever to experience, because it was above weight and rank. So when you put these two incidents together, death is a passage of time. But the timing that it comes. I have a classmate that I wouldn't want to mention his name. When we were in SS, the mother was everything this guy had got. When the mother passed, as I speak, my friend couldn't overcome the loss of the mother. It ended there. We didn't have the mechanism to have helped him. We were students, so we might not understand then. But there was no system that could have given him the needed help. But when men suffer sadness and depression, we hide it a lot. That is the challenging part. Women, you might see it, even they'll lose weight, and some will gain weight drastically. But as for men, we hide it, we keep it.
Is it because society has put this thing on men that they have to be strong, they have to look very solid and firm, so even when they are sad and depressed, they cannot show it, they have to just be men or be a man?
Well, it's a bit of the societal setup or the makeup of an environment that makes man that kind of mentality, show that you are a man. But actually it also has something to do with our makeup. Men are hardwired, so it makes us robust. So if I have a challenge, I'm a man, I must sail through. But it begins to eat you up. Before you realize you fall into drinking, before you realize you are screaming, yelling at anything just by heart, before you realize your productivity at work is low, before you realize you have severe headache for no reason, backaches for no reason, you feel tired easily, but you cannot pinpoint what exactly it is. But the root cause is something that has triggered you for a very long time to be depressed.
I will come back to you, but I want to hear Rachel's take on this.
Yeah, Martina.
Yes.
The society itself, right from childhood, the society itself, it's been programmed in such a way that if you don't take care, it will weigh you down. Our educational system, for instance, you go to school and it's a race. Somebody has to be the first in the class, and
someone has to be last.
So you can see praises being showered on the one who is always been first. But because you yourself have weighed yourself down, you do not give yourself the opportunity for you to be talked to be sagged, to be arranged in such a way that you can also be first one day. But looking at life itself, look at toddlers. When they are learning to walk, they stumble, they fall, but they do it. If the first baby had stopped, I don't think we will all be walking by now. So you see, mistakes are itself a kind of practice. Failure plus failure, failure upon failure leads to success. So you do not have to let life itself weigh you down. If you don't take care of orientation right from your upbringing, if you don't take care, your dreams will never be realized. But you do have them. And the irony of depression is, whilst it is an honest evaluation of your own self. You think you have a reason to be sad all the time. You think you have a reason to lack interest in life, the way you behave towards others. Others also think you are being overly dramatic.
Yes.
You are exaggerating.
Yes.
So why don't you believe in yourself? Because for the one out there, you can make it no matter the circumstances. Others have been able to do it. So you can also do it. So I think it's high time we all imbibe in ourselves that sadness is not parts of, it shouldn't be parts of human.
Yes.
Like Reverend said, the troubles are there. They are unsurmountable. There's not some of the troubles. There's nothing we can do about it.
How about you? You are trying to believe in yourself, but you try something you really want to do, but each time you try, you fail. Like first, second, third time, you keep failing, and it doesn't look like you have the support system around you to tell you know what, you can still go ahead. Someday you get it.
Who determines you are a failure? Who determines that you are a failure? You are evaluating yourself and telling yourself you are a failure. But I don't think somebody can come up to you and tell you, Martina, you tried schooling and you have. Has anybody been able to tell you that?
They might not tell you outright, but you know their actions.
That is a good thing. So why don't you believe in yourself?
You know, Martina, let me just chip in this. Sometimes it's easier said than done.
Okay.
That is the reality. When you do a bit of psychology and you understand how individuals even respond to sadness, to situations, you find out that the extroverts are able to break it and move on. But the introvert, the melancholy and the phlegmatics, they will keep it. They are very difficult to deal with actually because they are detailed in everything they do. So disappointment hits them hard. Okay, let's take it. I spent 5 years of my time wanting to develop a bulb.
Okay.
And in the final analysis, when I needed it to work most, it failed. When I need to prove to the whole world, it failed.
Yes.
And there's no joke to heal such a heart. To him, it's like I have lost a child. To him, it's like I've done this. So it's also pertain to individuals' chemical makeup, how we are hardwired by our temperament, and also our upbringing, which I agree with. Already there is a computer that has set in place. And the example you gave, you've tried A, you've tried B, you've tried C, and you're not getting a result. In certain studies, it is allowed that you keep on researching. But in certain jurisdictions, like the human brain says that, okay, you have failed.
Okay.
Sometimes not failed as you are not good, but the way we relate to the response. Failure is relative. Okay. In essence, I might have gotten 7 C's. I go to the university, looking at the environment that I got a 7 C's. I enter the university and I get the first degree. I mean, get it up there. I know institutions.
Is it because you chose a subject in SS that you are not good at? Sometimes you're forced to go into science and, you know, maybe your strength is in the arts or something.
Sometimes even the media environment alone. Somebody studying science, at Scofray secondary school, lack of laboratory, lack of light, and everything. Probably all this can factor you into getting bad grades. All right. So it does. Yeah, it's have a toll on you. It is when you enter university and you have all the facilities. You say, let me give off my best. So sadness will come.
Yes.
Is the how long it stays that is the challenge.
Okay. When does sadness go on to depression, Reverend? You know, we all get sad, but when does it become depression?
Well, before I answer that, let me top up what my colleagues have just said. You see, like our sister said, who determines whether you failed or not?
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, the fear of failure is a failure in itself. See, we are always scared of what we're going to meet. We're always scared of how tomorrow is going to be, what people would say, because of the community environment in which we are living. I was brought up in a compound house where I grew up with only my mother. There was no father. And when after 5 p.m., when the daddies of the house are coming, everybody runs to their father and says, Daddy, you're there.
Yours wasn't there.
Yeah. And each time I try to be like the other people, they just swerve me and go to their kids, you know. But I programmed my mind. I looked for people who were like me and have made it. You know, so I began to research. And I told myself, there's nothing called failure. I might not have succeeded in the first terms. But, you know, I keep trying. And when you tell yourself that you haven't failed, but you just didn't make it the first time, the second, third, fourth. Abraham Lincoln tried several times before he became American president. You know, a lot of things. If you accept the situation that, oh, I'm done, that is where the sadness begins from. And wanting to be like Mr. A or Mrs. B, you know, where again, I went to a very good school in Accra, Accra Secondary School. And in our time, it was a taboo for a secondary school kid to carry things on the head to go sell. And I was selling coals, and 83 when hunger came, famine was in Ghana. I was selling coals, I was selling Gary, and carried on my head. And, you know, initially it was telling, because at the time Aquanas was full of this the bars and stuff. And we were from the ghettos in Osu, and we had to mingle with them. But thank God for an illiterate but well-informed mother. You know, she saw what was in me. She saw my tomorrow, and she said, "Listen, boy, you can make it. Those people, it's just an opportunity that came their way." And now I understand better, because if you read Ecclesiastes 9:11, it says that the race is not for the swift, neither the battle for the strong, like my brother rightly said. But time and chance, the word time interpreter is the grace of God. You know, that somebody was put ahead. But when you build that inner tenacity in you and say, listen, man, I might have started late. I didn't have a good start. But training my shoulders, I can make it.
Exactly.
You know, so once you train your shoulders, when you meet the storm, you'll be able to stride through the storm. But when you look for sympathizers and always want to have a pity party, that is when your depression and your sadness begins. Oh, Kweku, I was better than Kweku in school. It's irrelevant. It doesn't matter.
Reverend.
Yes, my dear.
With sadness, at what point does that become depression?
Well, when you begin, you harness it and you nurse it, begin to breastfeed it. And it becomes a part of your life. Because he said how long it stays is what matters. You see, when they come, like I said from the beginning, they would come. You lose a loved one. You lose somebody. My mother took care of me. By the time I was ready to succeed, she was passed. I was boarding the plane. When I looked behind me, those times, you know, all the family would go to the airport and, you know, they say bye-bye. And I realized that my mother was not there. It was a big thing. And it almost affected my academic work. Because I was going to school on a scholarship. And for the first few weeks, I'm like, oh, this woman, she should have stayed to enjoy, you know. But quickly, I told myself, listen, she's past and gone. Like God told the Israelites, Moses is dead. Rise up and move on. She no matter what, she will not live like Methuselah. No, she's dead and gone.
But do we have instances where such a loss can help you even achieve greater things?
Yes, it does.
You know, you just lose a loved one and you have an exam or you have something, some competition to participate in, and you just tell yourself, I will do this just so this person would be happy about my achievements. It will make them happy. If they were alive, they would so be proud of me. Can that happen also?
I think we have to always draw a line between frustration and sadness. You have every right to be sad, but when frustration sets in, I believe it becomes a kind of illness, a canker on you. Yes, and it tells on you. So what is the next step? People begin to tag you. They begin to abandon you and they begin to reject you. But you've lost somebody. Why don't you look at the good side of it? I have lost my mom, like he said. I'm going to school. Why don't I come out as the best? This is the best opportunity. Then people will see me, ask me, how did you do it? Then I'll say, I give glory or all thanks to my late mom. It's an opportunity for you.
For the foundation she
market laid, your mother. Yes, people wonder, who is she? Who was she? But because you made it, you are not only advertising your own self, but others. So why don't we look at it in this way? We do not have to be selfish. Those dreams were not realized. They were unachievable. But you are thinking about your own self. What about others around you? Do you also want them to be counted amongst those whose dreams are shattered, whose world is locked out there? So I think we always have to look in looking at a brighter picture, we are in a society, we are in a family, we come from a family, we have siblings, we have relatives, and why would you, there's somebody out there you should be able to talk to.
Okay. Do we sometimes set unrealistic goals?
Seriously, we do. I have to nail it. I have to marry at all costs. You see,